The sky over Earth turned dark as thousands of alien ships entered orbit. People all over the world stopped what they were doing and looked up. Some screamed, some cried, and some just stood there, not believing their eyes. In New York City, Sarah Johnson was walking her dog in Central Park when she saw the ships. Her small terrier, Max, started barking at the sky. "Shame, Max," Sarah said, patting his head. "I don't like this either." Meanwhile, in a secret underground base, General Mark Thompson of the Earth Defense Force was having the worst day of his life. Alarms were going off everywhere, and his staff was running around like crazy. "Someone tell me what's going on," he shouted. A young lieutenant ran up to him with a tablet. "Sir, we've got over 10,000 alien ships in orbit. They're not doing anything yet, but they're just sitting there." General Thompson rubbed his forehead. He had trained for this day, but he never really thought it would come. "Get me the president," he said. As world leaders tried to figure out what to do, the aliens finally made contact. Every TV, radio, and phone on Earth suddenly showed the same thing. A tall blue alien with 4 eyes and tentacles for arms. The alien spoke in a deep, gurgling voice that somehow everyone could understand. "People of Earth," it said, "I am Supreme Commander Zixlack of the Galactic Confederation. We have come to test your planet's worthiness. If you fail, we will destroy you." People all over the world gasped. In Central Park, Sarah hugged Max tightly. Commander Zixlack continued, "We will unleash our most fearsome beast upon your world. If you can defeat it, we will leave you in peace. If not..." The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Well, I hope you've enjoyed your time on this little blue planet." The transmission cut off, leaving everyone in shock. Back at the Earth Defense Force base, General Thompson was on a video call with other military leaders from around the world. "We need to prepare for the worst," said a Russian general. "We should launch all our nuclear missiles at their ships and risk making them angry," said a Chinese admiral. "No, we must be cautious." General Thompson spoke up. "We don't know what this beast is capable of. We need to be ready for anything." As they argued, a young scientist named Dr. Emily Chen burst into the room. "General, I've analyzed the alien ship's energy readings. They're preparing to send something down to Earth." General Thompson turned to the screen. "Everyone, get your forces ready. Whatever they're sending, it's coming soon." All over the world, soldiers got into position. Tanks rolled through city streets. Fighter jets took off from aircraft carriers. In New York, police officers told everyone to go home and stay inside. Sarah was trying to get back to her apartment, but the streets were chaos. People were running everywhere, pushing and shoving. She picked up Max and held him close. "It's okay, boy," she said. "We'll be home soon." Suddenly, the sky lit up with a bright blue light. A small object, glowing like a star, shot down from the alien ships. It streaked across the sky, leaving a trail of sparks. In the Earth Defense Force base, everyone watched on the big screen as the object landed in Central Park. "All units, converge on the landing site," General Thompson ordered. "But be careful. We don't know what we're dealing with." In Central Park, Sarah found herself close to where the alien object had landed. Despite her fear, she was curious. She crept closer, still holding Max. The object was a small silver pod about the size of a car. It sat in a smoking crater, making strange humming noises. Soldiers arrived, pointing their guns at the pod. A tank rolled up, its cannon aimed and ready. With a hiss of steam, the pod began to open. Everyone held their breath, waiting to see the terrible beast that would decide the fate of humanity. The top of the pod split apart, and out stepped. To be continued. The pod opened with a hiss, and everyone held their breath. Soldiers tightened their grip on their weapons. Sarah hugged Max closer, her heart pounding. Then, out of the pod came a small, fluffy creature. It looked like a puppy, but not quite. It had 6 legs instead of 4, and its fur was a shimmering purple color. Its eyes were big and round, glowing softly in the twilight. Two antennae wiggled on top of its head. For a moment, nobody moved. The alien beast looked around, tilted its head, and then let out a small, adorable yip. Sarah couldn't help but giggle. Max barked back, wagging his tail. The soldiers looked at each other, confused. Was this really the terrible beast that was supposed to destroy humanity? Up in space, Supreme Commander Zixlack watched the scene unfold on his giant screen. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly in disbelief. What are they doing? He gurgled angrily. Why aren't they running in terror? His second in command, a skinny alien named Blorb, nervously tapped his tentacles together. Sir, it appears the humans are not afraid of the Zorgax. Not afraid. Zixlack's voice rose to a screech. The Zorgax is the fiercest predator in the galaxy. It can devour entire cities. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the situation in Central Park was getting stranger by the minute. General Thompson arrived at the scene, pushing through the crowd of soldiers. What's the status of the alien threat? He demanded. A young soldier turned to him, trying to hide a smile. Sir, it's kind of cute. The general stared in disbelief as he saw the purple alien puppy. It was now rolling on its back, and several soldiers were taking turns rubbing its belly. Sarah, still holding Max, slowly approached the alien creature. The soldiers tensed up, but the general held up his hand, curious to see what would happen. The alien puppy saw Sarah and Max. It bounced up, all 6 legs moving in an admirable scramble, and bounded over to them. Max squirmed out of Sarah's arms and dropped to the ground. The 2 animals sniffed each other, circling curiously. Be careful, Max, Sarah said, but she couldn't help smiling. Suddenly, the alien puppy playfully pounced on Max. Everyone gasped, expecting violence. But instead, the 2 started playing, rolling around in the grass and yipping happily. The tension in the air broke. Soldiers started laughing, some even taking out their phones to record the cute scene. General Thompson rubbed his forehead. This was not how he expected the alien invasion to go. He turned to Dr. Chen, who had arrived with him. Doctor, what do you make of this? Dr. Chen was already scanning the alien puppy with a handheld device. It's extraordinary, General. This creature's DNA is unlike anything we've ever seen. But its behavior, it's remarkably similar to our own domesticated animals. Back on the alien mothership, Zixlack was throwing a tantrum. This is impossible. The Zorgax should be tearing them apart. Blorp cleared his throat nervously. Sir, there's something you should know about the Zorgax. What? Zixlack snapped. Well, sir, remember how you ordered us to make it even more fearsome before this mission? Zixlack nodded impatiently. It seems, Blorp continued, his voice getting smaller, that the scientists may have accidentally activated its cuteness genes instead of its ferocity genes. There was a moment of silence. Then Zixlack let out a roar that shook the entire ship. Back on Earth, people were falling in love with the alien puppy. News crews had arrived, broadcasting the scene worldwide. The fear of alien invasion was being replaced by a collective awe. Sarah found herself being interviewed by a reporter. I've never seen Max so happy, she said, watching her dog play with his new alien friend. They're like 2 peas in a pod. General Thompson was on the phone with the president. No, sir, I'm not joking. The alien threat is, well, it's currently chasing a frisbee. As night fell on New York City, the mood had changed completely. The alien ships still loomed overhead, but they seemed less threatening now. People were coming out of their homes, gathering in the park to see the adorable alien visitor. Dr. Chen approached the general. Sir, I think I've figured out how to communicate with the alien ships. Should we make contact? General Thompson looked at the happy scene around him. Soldiers playing fetch with an alien puppy, children laughing, even world leaders on video calls cooing at the cute creature. He smiled. Yes, doctor. I think it's time we had a chat with our visitors. Something tells me this invasion isn't going quite as they planned. To be continued. As the sun rose over New York City, the alien ships still hovered in the sky, but the mood on the ground had changed completely. Central Park had turned into a makeshift alien puppy playpen. The purple, six-legged creature, which people had started calling Cosmo, was the center of attention. Kids were lining up to pet it, and even tough New York cops were sneaking it treats. Sarah and Max had become local celebrities. News reporters kept asking them questions about their new alien friend. I never thought I'd be happy about an alien invasion. Sarah laughed, watching Max and Cosmo chase each other around a tree. Meanwhile, in the Earth Defense Force base, General Thompson and Dr. Chen were preparing to contact the alien mothership. "Are you sure this will work?" the general asked, eyeing the strange device Dr. Chen had built. She nodded confidently. "It should allow us to communicate directly with their ship. I've analyzed their transmission frequencies." The general took a deep breath. "Okay, let's do this." Dr. Chen pressed a button, and a large screen lit up. At first, there was only static. Then suddenly, the angry face of Commander Zixlack appeared. "Humans," he gurgled furiously. "What have you done to our fearsome beast?" General Thompson stepped forward. "Greetings, Commander. We've done nothing to your, beast. In fact, we've been taking very good care of it." Zixlack's four eyes blinked in confusion. "Taking care of it? But it should have destroyed your cities by now." Dr. Chen spoke up. "Actually, your beast seems to be a very friendly creature. It's been playing with our dogs and children." The alien commander's face turned a deeper shade of blue. Playing. This is outrageous." Just then, Blorp, Zixlack's assistant, appeared on the screen. "Sir," he whispered loudly, "maybe we should tell them about the mix-up with the—" "Silence," Zixlack shouted, pushing Blorp out of view. He turned back to the humans. "This changes nothing. We will still conquer your planet." The transmission cut off abruptly. General Thompson and Dr. Chen looked at each other. "Well," the general said, "that could have gone better." Back in Central Park, Cosmo was showing off some unexpected skills. It turns out the alien puppy could understand human language perfectly. It was following complex commands and even seemed to be trying to speak. A crowd had gathered to watch as a dog trainer worked with Cosmo. "Okay, Cosmo," the trainer said, "can you bring me the red ball, then jump over the blue hurdle, and finally sit on the green mat?" Cosmo yipped happily, then performed the entire sequence flawlessly. The crowd cheered. Sarah watched in amazement. "Max," she said to her dog, "I think you might have some competition." Max just wagged his tail, seemingly unbothered by his new friend's talents. As the day went on, more strange things began to happen. Plants near Cosmo started growing at an incredible rate. A withered old tree suddenly sprouted new leaves. The grass where Cosmo played became lush and green. Dr. Chen arrived at the park with her scanning equipment. "Fascinating," she muttered, taking readings. "This creature seems to emit some kind of energy that accelerates plant growth and healing." News of Cosmo's abilities spread quickly. Soon, people were bringing sick plants and even injured animals to the park, hoping for a miracle. To everyone's surprise, it worked. Cosmo would nuzzle a wilted flower or a limping bird, and within minutes, they would be healthy again. As night fell, the mood in New York was a mix of excitement and worry. People were amazed by Cosmo, but the alien ship still loomed overhead, a constant reminder of the threat. In his office, the mayor of New York was on a video call with the president and other world leaders. "We can't give up this creature," the mayor insisted. "Do you realize what this could mean for medicine? For agriculture?" The president nodded gravely. "I understand, but we're dealing with a potential alien invasion here. We need to think about global security." Just then, an aide rushed into the mayor's office. "Sir, you need to see this." He turned on the TV. Every channel was showing the same thing. The alien ships were moving. In Central Park, people watched in fear as the massive ships descended from the sky. Cosmo, sensing the tension, huddled close to Sarah and Max. General Thompson's voice came over emergency broadcasts. All citizens, please remain calm and stay where you are. We are in communication with the alien visitors. As the ships got closer, a bright light suddenly engulfed Central Park. Sarah hugged Max and Cosmo tightly, closing her eyes against the glare. When she opened them again, she gasped. Standing in front of her was Commander Zixlack himself, surrounded by dozens of alien guards. The alien leader looked down at Cosmo, then at the humans. His expression was unreadable. "So," he said, his voice booming across the park, "it seems we have much to discuss." The entire park fell silent as Commander Zixlack towered over Sarah, Max, and Cosmo. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly, taking in the scene. Sarah hugged Cosmo protectively. "You can't take him," she said, her voice shaking but determined. "He belongs here now." Zixlack's tentacles waved in what might have been surprise. "Belongs here. This creature is the result of centuries of our most advanced genetic engineering." Just then, General Thompson pushed through the crowd, followed closely by Dr. Chen. "Commander," he said, trying to sound calm, "perhaps we can discuss this situation peacefully." Zixlack turned to face them. "Discuss. Your planet was supposed to be destroyed by now." He pointed a tentacle at Cosmo. That beast was engineered to be the most fearsome predator in the galaxy. Dr. Chen stepped forward, holding up her tablet. "Actually, Commander, our scans show that this creature has remarkable healing and growth-promoting abilities. It's been helping our plants and animals." The alien commander's eyes widened. "Healing? Growth? Impossible." As if on cue, a little girl approached, holding a wilted flower. Everyone held their breath as she placed it near Cosmo. The alien puppy sniffed the flower, then gently nuzzled it. Within seconds, the flower perked up, its colors becoming vibrant. Zixlack watched in astonishment. I don't understand," he muttered. Suddenly, Blorp, the commander's assistant, pushed through the group of alien guards. "Sir," he squeaked, "I can explain." All eyes turned to the nervous alien. Blorp gulped and continued. "Remember when you ordered us to enhance the Zorgax's fearsome qualities? Well, there was a tiny mix-up in the lab." "Mix-up?" Zixlack's voice was dangerously low. Blorp nodded quickly. "Yes, you see, we accidentally activated its nurturing and healing genes instead of its destructive ones. We tried to tell you earlier, but—" "Silence!" Zixlack roared, his face turning a deep shade of purple. The crowd of humans murmured in surprise. Sarah looked down at Cosmo, who was wagging his tail happily, oblivious to the drama unfolding around him. General Thompson saw an opportunity. "Commander Zixlack," he said carefully, "it seems there's been a misunderstanding. But perhaps this is a chance for our species to learn from each other." Dr. Chen nodded enthusiastically. "Exactly. The scientific possibilities are endless. We could exchange knowledge, work together to unlock the secrets of Cosmo's abilities." Zixlack's tentacles twisted in what looked like confusion. Work together. The concept seemed foreign to him. Just then, Max barked and playfully pounced on one of Zixlack's lower tentacles. The alien commander yelped in surprise, instinctively reaching down to push the dog away. But as his tentacle touched Max, something strange happened. A soft glow emanated from the point of contact. Zixlack froze, his eyes widening in wonder. I feel different," he said slowly. Dr. Chen quickly scanned him with her device. "Incredible," she exclaimed. "Your cellular structure is changing, becoming more resilient, more adaptable." The alien guards murmured among themselves, clearly unsure of what to do. Zixlack looked at his tentacle, then at Max, then at Cosmo. For the first time, his stern expression softened. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "we have been approaching this all wrong." He turned to General Thompson. You speak of working together, of learning from each other. This is not how we usually do things. Sarah spoke up, surprising herself with her boldness. Maybe it's time for a change then. Look at Cosmo and Max. She gestured to the two animals, who were now playfully chasing each other around the alien guard's feet. They're so different, but they've become friends. Why can't we do the same? A hush fell over the crowd as everyone waited for Zixlak's response. The fate of Earth seemed to hang in the balance. After what felt like an eternity, the alien commander straightened up. Very well, he said, his voice echoing across the park. We will not destroy your planet. A cheer erupted from the crowd, but Zixlak held up a tentacle for silence. Instead, he continued, we propose an alliance. We have much to learn from each other, it seems. General Thompson stepped forward, extending his hand. On behalf of Earth, we accept. As Zixlak awkwardly wrapped a tentacle around the general's hand in a strange version of a handshake, Cosmo let out a happy yip. It was as if the little alien puppy knew that it had just changed the course of intergalactic history. Sarah knelt down, hugging both Max and Cosmo. Well, boys, she said with a smile, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. In the days that followed the historic meeting in Central Park, New York City became the center of an unprecedented cultural exchange. Alien diplomats walked the streets, marveling at hot dog stands and skyscrapers. Human scientists eagerly studied alien technology, their eyes wide with wonder. But at the heart of it all was Cosmo, the alien puppy that had brought two worlds together. Sarah found herself busier than ever. As Cosmo's adopted caregiver, she was now an important part of the human-alien relations team. She spent her days in meetings with scientists, diplomats, and alien visitors, always with Max and Cosmo by her side. I never thought I'd be explaining dog parks to a four-eyed alien, she laughed, watching Commander Zixlak try to throw a frisbee with his tentacles. Cosmo and Max raced after it, their unlikely friendship a symbol of the new alliance. Dr. Chen had set up a research center in Central Park, dedicated to studying Cosmo's unique abilities. The potential applications are staggering, she explained to a group of human and alien scientists. Cosmo's healing energy could revolutionize medicine, agriculture, even environmental restoration. As if to demonstrate, Cosmo trotted over to a patch of bare earth. He pawed at the ground, and within moments, fresh grass and colorful flowers sprouted up. The alien scientist's eyes widened in amazement. One of them, a tall, spindly being named Zorb, spoke up. On our world, we have long forgotten how to nurture life. We only knew how to create weapons. He looked at Cosmo with something like regret in his compound eyes. Meanwhile, General Thompson was having his own challenges. In a video call with world leaders, he tried to explain the situation. Yes, Madam President, I understand it sounds crazy, he said, rubbing his forehead. But I assure you, the alien puppy is key to our new intergalactic alliance. On the other side of the world, things were changing too. In a small village in India, farmers watched in awe as their drought-stricken fields came to life. Cosmo had been there just days before, part of a global tour to demonstrate his abilities. Back in New York, Commander Zixlak was having a crisis of his own. In a quiet moment in Central Park, he confided in Sarah. All my life, I believed that strength came from fear and destruction, he said, his usually booming voice soft. But now, seeing what Cosmo can do, I wonder if we've been wrong all along. Sarah smiled, patting one of his tentacles gently. It's never too late to learn new things, she said. That's what makes life exciting. Just then, Cosmo bounded up, followed closely by Max. The alien puppy had grown a bit, his purple fur now shimmering with streaks of gold. He yipped happily and nuzzled Zixlak's tentacle. The alien commander's eyes softened. Perhaps, he said slowly, it's time for the Galactic Confederation to rethink its ways. As word of Earth's alliance with the aliens spread, the planet saw an unprecedented era of cooperation. Countries that had been enemies for centuries now worked together, united by the common goal of learning from their new alien friends. In universities around the world, students eagerly signed up for xenobiology classes. Children played with toy spaceships alongside their teddy bears. And everywhere, purple, six-legged puppies became the most sought-after pets. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. In a secret meeting at the United Nations, General Thompson voiced his concerns to a group of world leaders. While most of the aliens seemed genuinely interested in peace, he said, his voice low, "There are rumors of a faction that's not happy with this new direction. They believe Commander Zixlack has gone soft." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Could their newfound peace be in danger? As if sensing the tension, Cosmo, who had been napping in the corner, suddenly perked up. His antennae twitched, and he let out a low, worried whine. Sarah, who had been invited to the meeting as Cosmo's caretaker, frowned. "He's never done that before," she said, concern in her voice. Just then, alarms began blaring throughout the building. A breathless aide burst into the room. "Mr. Secretary General," he gasped, "we're detecting multiple unidentified ships entering Earth's atmosphere. They're not responding to any communications." As the room erupted into chaos, Sarah looked down at Cosmo. The alien puppy's eyes glowed with an intensity she'd never seen before. Whatever was coming, she realized, their little intergalactic friendship was about to face its biggest test yet. The skies over New York City once again filled with alien ships, but this time they were not the friendly vessels of Commander Zixlack's fleet. These new ships were darker, their edges sharp and threatening. In the chaos of the United Nations building, Sarah scooped up Cosmo in her arms. The alien puppy was trembling, his purple fur standing on end. Max stood protectively at Sarah's feet, growling at the ceiling as if he could sense the danger above. General Thompson barked orders into his phone. "I want every available unit in the air now. And someone get me Commander Zixlack." As if on cue, the alien commander burst into the room, his tentacles waving in agitation. "It's the Krell faction," he said, his voice grave. "They never agreed with our peace treaty. They've come to finish what we started." Outside, people ran for cover as the dark ships descended. From their hulls came a piercing sound, a high-pitched whine that made everyone clutch their ears in pain. But something strange was happening. As the sound waves spread across the city, plants began to wither. Trees that had been vibrant and green moments ago now drooped, their leaves turning brown and falling. Dr. Chen, who had rushed to the UN with her scanning equipment, gasped as she looked at her readings. "It's some kind of anti-life wave," she explained. "It's killing all plant life and weakening living creatures." In the streets, people and animals alike began to feel weak and dizzy. The once bustling city was quickly becoming a ghost town. But in the middle of all this, Cosmo began to glow. The little alien puppy jumped from Sarah's arms and stood firm, his 6 legs planted on the ground. As the anti-life wave washed over him, his golden streaks began to shine brighter. "Look," Sarah cried, pointing at Cosmo. Everyone watched in amazement as a bubble of golden light expanded from Cosmo, pushing back against the destructive wave. Wherever the golden light touched, plants sprang back to life. People and animals within its range felt their strength returning. Commander Zixlack's eyes widened. "Incredible," he muttered. "The Zorgax was meant to be a weapon, but instead, it has become a shield for life itself." General Thompson didn't waste any time. "We need to expand this effect," he said firmly. "Dr. Chen, can you amplify Cosmo's energy somehow?" The scientist nodded, already tapping away at her tablet. "If we can connect him to the city's power grid, we might be able to broadcast his healing energy across a wider area." As they rushed to put the plan into action, the Krell ships landed in Central Park. From them emerged aliens that looked like darker, spikier versions of Zixlack's people. Their leader, a scared and fierce-looking alien, stepped forward. "Zixlack, you weak fool," he snarled. "You were supposed to conquer this planet, not make friends with it. Zixlac stood tall, his tentacles rigid with determination. Krell, old friend, can't you see? There's a better way than conquest. These humans have shown us. But Krell cut him off with a harsh laugh. Show us what? How to be soft. No, we will cleanse this planet and start over. The Galactic Confederation will not be made weak by your foolish notions of peace. As Krell raised a weapon, ready to fire at Zixlac, something unexpected happened. Max, who had been quietly following Sarah, suddenly darted forward. The little terrier ran straight at Krell, barking fiercely. Surprised by the tiny creature's bravery, Krell hesitated. In that moment, Cosmo's golden light reached them. As it washed over Krell and his soldiers, their harsh expressions began to soften. The weapons in their hands slowly lowered. Krell looked at his hands in confusion. What is this feeling? He asked, his voice losing its edge. Zixlac stepped forward, placing a tentacle gently on Krell's shoulder. It's life, old friend. Pure, nurturing life. This is what we've been missing all along. As the golden light spread across the city, a remarkable transformation took place. The Krell soldiers, once bent on destruction, now looked around in wonder. The withered plants sprang back to life, more vibrant than ever. In the middle of it all stood Cosmo, his little body shimmering with golden light. Sarah knelt beside him, tears in her eyes. "Good boy, Cosmo," she whispered. "You've saved us all." But even as the immediate danger passed, Sarah couldn't help but wonder, was this really the end, or just the beginning of a much bigger adventure? In the days following the Krell invasion, Earth experienced a transformation unlike anything in its history. The golden energy that Cosmo had released continued to spread, carried by wind and water to the farthest corners of the planet. Deserts bloomed into lush gardens. Polluted rivers ran clear once more. Even the air seemed fresher, cleaner. It was as if the entire planet was healing itself. Sarah walked through Central Park, marveling at the changes. Trees that had been mere saplings a week ago now stood tall and strong. Flowers of colors she had never seen before dotted the grass. Beside her, Max and Cosmo played, their energies seemingly inexhaustible. "It's amazing, isn't it?" Dr. Chen said, joining Sarah on her walk. The scientist's eyes sparkled with excitement. "We're seeing hundreds of years of environmental damage undone in a matter of days." Sarah nodded, watching as Cosmo paused to nuzzle a butterfly that had landed on a nearby flower. The insect's wings shimmered with an iridescent glow before it fluttered away. "I never imagined anything like this was possible," she said softly. Meanwhile, in the Grand Hall of the United Nations, a historic meeting was taking place. Representatives from every nation on Earth sat alongside delegates from the Galactic Confederation. At the center of it all stood Commander Zixlac and the once fearsome Krell. "My friends," Zixlac's voice boomed, his tentacles gesturing expansively. "Today marks a new chapter not just for Earth, but for the entire galaxy. We came here as conquerors, but we leave as allies, as friends." Krell stepped forward, his harsh features softened by a newfound wisdom. "We have learned that true strength lies not in destruction, but in nurturing life. The humans and their remarkable companion Cosmo have taught us this invaluable lesson." The hall erupted in applause. General Thompson, sitting in the front row, couldn't help but shake his head in amazement. Just weeks ago, he had been preparing for the end of the world. Now he was witnessing the dawn of a new era of intergalactic peace. As the meeting concluded, a decision was reached. Earth would join the Galactic Confederation, but not as a subjugated planet. Instead, it would serve as a beacon of life and healing for the entire galaxy. Back in Central Park, Sarah was surprised to see a group of alien scientists approaching her. Their leader, a tall, willowy being with shimmering scales, bowed slightly. "Greetings, Sarah of Earth," the alien said, its voice melodious. "We come seeking your guidance. Our homeworld has suffered greatly from centuries of war and environmental destruction. We hope to learn from you and Cosmo, To bring healing to our planet as you have to yours. Sarah blinked in surprise. Me? But I'm just a dog walker. I don't know anything about healing planets. The alien scientist smiled, a gesture it had clearly learned recently. You underestimate yourself. You showed kindness to a creature from another world. You saw past differences and found friendship. This is the first step in healing anything. As if to emphasize the point, Cosmo trotted over, his antennae wiggling happily. The alien scientists gasped in wonder as the little purple puppy sat at Sarah's feet, looking up at them with his big, friendly eyes. In that moment, Sarah realized that her life had changed forever. She was no longer just Sarah, the dog walker. She was now Sarah, ambassador of Earth, teacher of intergalactic friendship. Well, she said, kneeling down to scratch behind Cosmo's ears, I suppose we all have a lot to learn from each other. Why don't we start with the basics? This is how you play fetch. As Sarah began to demonstrate, more aliens gathered around, their eyes wide with curiosity. Humans passing by stopped to watch, chuckling at the sight of tentacled beings awkwardly throwing sticks for an enthusiastic six-legged puppy. High above, on the deck of his ship, Commander Zixlack watched the scene with Krell by his side. You know, Zixlack mused, when I ordered the creation of the ultimate beast, I never imagined it would turn out like this. Krell nodded, a smile playing on his face. Sometimes, old friend, our greatest mistakes lead to our greatest discoveries. As the sun set on this new Earth, painting the sky in brilliant hues of purple and gold, a sense of hope filled the air. The future was uncertain, full of challenges yet to come. But with newfound friends both on Earth and among the stars, it seemed that anything was possible. And at the heart of it all was a little purple puppy named Cosmo, wagging his tail and ready for whatever adventure came next. The end.